Cyprus is now regarded as the toughest rally of the year. There are literally thousands of corners, making steering a precious but fragile commodity. There are rocks everywhere you look, and one bad contact can result in power steering problems or a stage-ending broken steering arm. Chris Atkinson has had a few steering issues of his own in the past, so who better to talk us through the mechanics of steering?
We're off to Cyprus soon, and obviously that's one of the toughest rallies of the year. Really twisty, really rough. The most important thing there is our steering. We need to have the steering to make sure we can get around all those corners, and because there's so many corners, if you lose your power steering, then it's impossible and you're going to lose minutes. So I'll give you a quick guide through our steering rack and show you how it all works. Firstly, we've got the steering column coming down here, and this is obviously from the steering wheel and works its way down into the rack. From there, you've got hydraulic pressure in the rack, and this pressure forces each wheel when you turn, makes the steering easy to turn.
Using Virtual Spectator, you can see exactly how the steering rack connects the steering wheel to the wheels for that precision feeling the drivers crave in Cyprus. We can also see just how the hydraulic fluid assists the steering. This is done by increasing the fluid pressure on one side, forcing the steering rack either left or right, and reducing the load for the driver.
Now, the problem occurs when you either bend the steering arm at the end.
Something Chris experienced firsthand in Australia last year.
In the middle of the road, the middle of the corner, lost the steering, and I'm driving with the steering wheel at 90 degrees. I can't stay straight.
Or have a problem with the hydraulics where you lose your pressure, and with no pressure it becomes incredibly hard. You can do it for a few kilometres, and at the end of a long stage it can become quite difficult, and you really need a massage after you've done a few stages with no power steering.
A feeling Marcus Grunholm experienced on more than one occasion in his Peugeot.
We have no power steering. We have no power steering after 13 kilometers of stage. No power steering.
No power steering. And we have 2 long stages to go. I'm fed up with this car.
Okay, here we are inside the car. The important bit, the steering wheel here, connects through the steering column down into the rack, which we just showed you. Obviously the steering wheel, like I've shown you before, actually is covered in felt, and that on your gloves you also have a similar material, and that bonds together, gives you extra grip, and that's important, especially when you lose your power steering, because you've got no control over the big bumps and it can get ripped straight out of your hands. You have to watch out for that. Basically that's it. Pretty simple, and hopefully we have no problems come Cyprus, and then we can have a really good rally.